So what should we expect from Jordan Poole this year? Is he going to come out and lead the league in scoring while dropping a couple of 60-point games?
I look for Jordan Poole to be top 5 in scoring this year. And if he don't shoot more than 25 balls, I'll be shocked.
Absolutely.
And if he don't have not one but a couple 60 balls this year, I will be shocked.
Absolutely.
I'm looking for the Jordan Poole show.
Or will JP's inefficient shooting and careless decision-making become even more of a problem with his bigger role in Washington? In this video, we're going to try to figure that out by breaking down Jordan's entire game to see how much damage he can actually do as a number 1 option. So when we look at Poole as a player, we all know who he is and what he does. JP is just a straight up scorer. When Jordan's on the court, he's simply looking to get buckets and put up a lot of shots. Per 36 minutes last year, Poole got up about 19 field goal attempts, which was just shy of Steph and Clay. Now with Poole's total field goal attempts, over 60% of those looks were perimeter jump shots, and about 54% of Jordan's jump shots came off the dribble. And I definitely see that number going up this year, simply because the ball is going to be in his hands more. So off the bounce, Jordan has all the tools in his bag to generate shots off the dribble, being able to pull up going both right and left, having the ability to make difficult off-balance shots, and be able to do all that from range.
Oh my goodness.
So a really important element to JP shooting off the dribble is going to be how consistent his mechanics are, specifically his set point and release into his shot. While we go through this breakdown, you'll notice how Jordan uses his lower body in a variety of ways to set up looks. And there's many times where Poole has his feet in really awkward angles, but his set point and release into his shot is always consistent. On this play, you'll see Jordan use his eyes and drop his shoulders to sell as if he's coming off the screen. Then he's going to refuse the pick by planting his right foot and getting to a push cross. Then Poole's really going to dip his inside shoulder to try to get the outside angle on the defense. But when he feels his man about to cut him off, JP's going to slam the brakes by planting his right foot. And from here, Poole's going to create more separation by replanting his right and hopping behind the 3. And again, while Jordan's feet is doing all this work, his upper body remains consistent as he rises up into the same fluid jumper. Now I think we all know that JP has some of the best ball control and handles in the NBA, and this obviously gives him plenty of avenues to create outside shots. But a really underrated part of Poole's game off the dribble is going to be how fluid his footwork is. When we slow down and look at how Jordan creates separation off the dribble, one thing you'll notice is that he really likes to use a lot of steps into his shot. And sometimes he's able to get away with 3, 4, and at times 5 steps with just one dribble. But Poole is able to get away with this because he's very good at delaying his pickup. Watch this play for example. Notice how JP only needs one dribble from half court to glide all the way to the 3-point line and elevate up for a 3. And he easily took way more than 2 steps to get to this spot. But watch how Poole throws the ball out in front of him. And because he legally hasn't gathered the ball, he can use these 2 extra steps before he picks up the rock. Then when he grabs it, he can still use these 2 initial steps to hop into his shot. You'll see a similar concept on this play, where JP goes between then wraps the ball behind, and from here he uses 4 steps to create space into his shot. But again, Poole delays the pickup and gathers the ball off his right foot, which again legally allows him to use 2 more steps into his shot. Now off the dribble, Poole also plays with really good pace. With the ball, Jordan is constantly changing his level and speed. And again, everything comes back to Poole's footwork. On this play, notice how upright and casual JP is with the ball. And watch how much space he creates by just going between and dropping his shoulders. Then Poole's going to reset. And then he hits the same move, but now he extends his right foot even more. And he's able to separate for the jumper. When Jordan gets into these step backs, he's really good at using his entire body to sell the move. Calmly dropping his shoulders, head, and using the ball to push the defense back. On this play, you'll see Poole go between, then replant his right foot and drop his shoulders, which again pushes the defense's feet back and gives him the space to rise up. Now what really ties all of this together is Poole's lower body strength. JP is elite at stopping, starting, and separating at a variety of angles, but Poole's stability in his lower body is what allows him to maintain balance after hitting these tough moves. Like here, watch him get to a simple right hand hezzy blow by, and notice how much he extends his right foot out to plant off it and snatch the ball back to separate. This move here is also tough, where Poole gets to a right to left between, then he skips his feet up to build momentum, and watch how JP pushes off his right foot, to then bring that same foot all the way around and separate off it. Then he again adds that step back to create extra space. So overall, Jordan obviously has plenty of tools in his bag to create outside shots. But one big issue is that Poole's not a very efficient outside shooter. Last year, Poole shot under 29% on all his pull-up threes, and his numbers off the catch aren't super impressive either. Now, when we watch the film, Jordan is obviously a really talented shot maker, who's got the ability to sink really difficult looks, but this skill can be a double-edged sword, because this leads to Poole jacking up some really bad shots, which sure are looks that he can make in spots, but Poole does take these type of shots in high volume, which I think plays the biggest factor in driving his overall shooting percentages down. So for Poole, the obvious adjustment this year is to take more open, high quality threes, and his percentages do take a pretty big jump when he takes good open shots. Jordan last year shot over 40% on all his wide open jumpers, which is a pretty big jump when we compare that to his contested looks. And this is an adjustment we've already started to see from Poole in the preseason. In Washington's first 2 matchups this year, Jordan's made a total of 6 jumpers from behind the line, and 5 of those 6 shots came off the catch. These are the type of looks that should make up a majority of Poole's shot diet, looks that are both in rhythm and off the catch. And because Jordan this year is going to have a way longer leash, I think it gives him an opportunity to play more patient and let these high quality looks find him. And it for sure helps that he's playing alongside a more traditional point guard in Tyus Jones. Now I understand that you can't read too deep into this, because it's just the preseason, but I still think Poole has the tools in his game to be a really effective spot-up shooter. Having a good feel of spacing and shifting to open spots, while also having the ability to aggressively blast off screens and settle his feet for balanced jumpers. I think with Washington's current roster, Jordan's going to have the opportunity to both have the green light, but also get more reps off the ball, which I think should lead to Poole taking a lot more in-rhythm catch-and-shoot threes. And as a result, I think Poole's three-point percentages could drastically climb up this year.
1 of 8 from beyond the arc. Warriors now have 12 made threes.
Now as a scorer, Poole is much more than just an outside shooter. His dynamic handle also allows him to break down the defense and put a ton of pressure on the rim. With the ball, Jordan is elite at setting up attacking angles. And similar to his step back game, this all comes back to JP's footwork, using his feet to get his man out of position, then attack into those angles. Right here, you'll see Jordan get to a simple between blow by, but notice how he initially steps with his left foot first, which gets the defense to completely open up and expose her top foot. And that gives Jordan the easy blow by after going through. With the ball, Poole also plays with really good pace, calmly just floating and playing casual with the rock, to then drop down and completely dust his man. On this play, notice how relaxed and upright Poole is with the ball, and from here he's just going to drop his shoulders selling the right hand blow by, and he completely shifts his man out of his frame with his crossover. Then he knifes through the help and finishes at the rim. Poole is also really good at reading angles on the fly. Watch him here come off the screen, and notice how this defender is out of his stance hopping towards his left. So in response, Jordan's going to come off the screen relaxed going towards his right. Then he splits his stance going between, and pushes the ball out in front of him to attack into this gap. Look at this play. You'll see JP again use that same between the legs move by stepping first and going through second. And as he comes off this pick, notice how this big's hips are pretty much squared up with the sideline. So Poole's going to simply exchange the ball to his right hand and attack his top foot. Another thing Jordan is really good at is manipulating the ball to slice through tight gaps. This play here is tough, where JP refuses the screen getting to an overcross, And from here, watch how he curls the ball back in to completely slice through this tight gap. But this leads us to one of Jordan Poole's biggest problems as a player, and that's going to be his turnovers. Per 36 minutes last year, Poole averaged 3.7 turnovers a game, which is just slightly under Trae Young, who led the league in turnovers last year. So Jordan with the ball at times can be both careless and reckless by dribbling into traffic or forcing passes that just simply aren't there. When Poole puts the ball down, one of his biggest issues is that he doesn't read the floor well. Once he drops his head and he commits to attacking, it's like his 4 other teammates disappear, which leads to Jordan chaotically driving into traffic. With the ball, JP is not great at probing or manipulating the defense. His entire game is simply attack and then re-attack until hopefully something good happens. And this causes him to easily get sped up and forced into these sloppy turnovers. Now with Jordan's passing, his biggest issue is simply trying to force really difficult deliveries that just simply aren't open. And when there are passing windows available to Poole, his delivery system can be sloppy and inaccurate. Like here, you'll see Poole catch the ball, and notice how DiVincenzo dives towards the basket. And from this spot, Jordan's going to try to wrap the ball around his man to hit Dante cutting, but the ball slips out of his hands and bounces towards the cameraman. So to sum things up, I think Jordan Poole easily has all-star level talent. He can effectively create shots from behind the 3, while consistently play downhill and put pressure on the rim. I think this year for Poole, it really comes down to keeping the game simple by both creating good high quality looks from behind the line and cutting back on his turnovers by playing more patient and making simple reads with the ball. If you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments who the kid should break down next. The kid's here.